That's right. I'm going live today a little bit early. Don't worry about a thing. It's all good. Schedule permits me doing this earlier rather than later. So I'm not filling in for radio, but it's a good guess. I'm just getting an early jump because this afternoon I got to drive down to Anaheim, and getting back in time for the show will be impossible. So forgive me for jumping in the middle of this Jack Smith insanity and dealing with some of the stuff that's coming up. It's been one of those mornings where I saw a bunch of videos and I was like, I gotta get in there. Thank you guys so much. Hit the like, share the show. It's a different part of the day, so maybe we'll get a broader audience. We'll get some new subscribers that way. I don't care. It's all good. It's not all good. If it was all good, I'd be doing something else. I'm kidding. Sort of. I'd be just doing comedy and playing music and hanging out with family like we all would. Sans insanity. All right, we're about to get started. Here we go. Hang in there. Here it comes. 6, 5. Hit that like. Give me an early like. Let people know I'm here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's a little early today, I understand, but the NAMM show, the National Association of Music Makers, is this week, and it's down in Anaheim, which, for those of you that don't drive in an area like Los Angeles, would be the equivalent of I need to be in. I'm currently in, let's say, Idaho, and I need to be in Texas by noon. That's what the drive, like looking ahead to the drive, feels like. Hello there, hi there. Say something in the comments and all the sites and all this stuff so people know we're here. That's one of the ways. Yeah, I'm early because of where I need to be this afternoon, and I didn't want to skip a show today because I knew I wouldn't get back in time because the timing was so screwy. So I might replay this at the regular time for those that might miss it. That might be the trick today. So yeah, it's down near Disneyland. And yeah, 20 miles, 2 hours exactly. And so if I'm gonna catch any of it today, and then like there's an event tonight too, and if I would stick, never mind. Look, I'm dressed up, I'm ready to go. Like I'm in my rock uniform, looking every day more like a member of Foghat. I get it. Um, how early did you get up? Oh, Jesus. I woke up at 4 this morning. Yeah. I'm used to, the cats waking me up around 5 a.m. no matter what. So, but yeah. So again, I'm on early because I've got the NAMM show is today, and I'm going to head down there. And I didn't want to skip a show because of all the stuff that was going on. Not the least of which is that I almost named this stream "Bored of Peace" BORED because of this nonsense. Trump announced his boring of peace. The Boring Company has struck again, and most of it was flap. Most of it was like, we're the hottest country, we're a dead country, that kind of shit. Like he's on autopilot. But I gotta say, he was not happy. Talking about like I got up at 4 and I was like, but baby, I have so much to do. There's so much. This is exciting. I want to go down there. There's all this new like music and live streaming gear that's going to be there. I also want to look at gear that's going to be available for Nerd Halen to use live. And so my mind is like a flutter with all the stuff that might be going on. And then um uh cut to Donald Trump having to get up at a normal hour, I think at like what's effectively 9 a.m. and do work. And he's been in these little spot meetings to make him look like he's got vim and vigor. And well, you'll see. Just a little bit of this. We'll do a little taste of this. It says it's funny because I looked down this when I saw it this morning. You can see down the bottom how long it is. It's 59 minutes. Um, it's not 59 minutes. His speech is of, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes. But you can tell he's over it before he starts. And he's just going to, like, I just want to say the stuff I like to say because it makes people mad or they pay attention to me or whatever. And well, I'll show you. There's a moment where, where I'm going to save it because I'm just going to say, let me lead with this. There's a lot of foreign names. We'll just leave it there. Okay. There are a lot of difficult to pronounce foreign names if you've never left, Manhattan and West Palm Beach and you only talk to people named Johnny Cracker all the time. So Johnny Cracker's a character I'm working on. We'll get to that later. He was fired from his job at Honky Bucket. All right. So here we go. Let's hit it. Oh God. Also, tepid applause is he's not enjoying the tepid applause. There's been a bunch of tepid applause. The Elon Musk thing was pathetic. Like the Larry Fink had to like insist the audience clap more for the Elon Musk gathering at whatever this was gaggle where he rambles on about fucking the future and we're gonna expanding consciousness beyond the universe. It's the DMT talking. Anyway,
well, this is a very exciting day.
Yeah, we're all very excited. You can tell how excited you are, and nothing says excitement like saying, "This is exciting."
Long in the making, and many countries have just received their notice, and everybody wants to be a part of it.
Sorry, they just received their notice. What are you passing out fucking flyers? What are you, an indie band? This is my new indie band. We're the Board of Peace, man. We're kind of somewhere between Jellyfish and Age of Electric, which would be awesome, by the way, if there was a band like that.
And we'll work with many others, including the United Nations. But I want to thank you all for being here. Yesterday, we had an incredibly successful visit with many of the world's top business leaders, the best, the biggest, most successful, and foreign heads of state. And now
In the FinSec and tech sectors, obviously, not a lot of like farmers who are really successful at what they do, or not a lot of engineers and laborers.
we have one of the most important meetings of all, the official formation of what is known as the Board of Peace. I want to
Crickets.
thank.
Why is he exhausted already? Tui, I said the exact same thing. There was this like he was huffing and puffing because he walked. I'll tell you why. Because he entered from this side of the stage. He entered from he walked past the people, so he had to shake a couple of hands. So it must be give him a break. He's exhausted.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner. And their extraordinary work. I mean, they have done an amazing job. We have peace in the Middle East.
No, we do not.
Nobody thought that was possible. We've settled 8 wars, and I believe another one's coming.
By the way, he unsettles a couple of them during this. Like, I mean, they're settled, but they're not really settled, but they'll be settled. And oh, by the way, I settled the well. Wait till he describes them.
Pretty soon. You know what that is? The one that I thought was going to be an easy one has turned out to be probably the most difficult. Last month, 29,000 people died, mostly soldiers.
Did 1,000 people come back to life? Because yesterday gave a speech where it was 30,000. It was 30,000 yesterday. It's 29,000 today. So I'm glad they pulled through.
Ukraine, Russia. Think of that, 29,000.
Yeah, you said 30,000. I'm thinking about it because you said 30,000 yesterday.
27,000 in the month before.
I thought it was 20. I thought it was 29,000 the month before. So it jumped up two, and then 1,000 people came to life. Oh my God! The breaking news is there's apparently a zombie infestation in the Donbass.
26,000 in the month before that.
So I guess Ukraine's making progress.
It's terrible. But we have meetings and we think we're making a lot of progress.
You do? You think that? Well, keep thinking that, dummy.
Thanks as well to Secretary Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, and Chris Wright, U.S. Trade Representative,
for helping us buy the dip on our manufactured collapse of the stock market on a regular schedule.
Jameson Greer. They're all doing such an incredible job. Ambassador Callista Gingrich, who is
Callista Gingrich is difficult to say if when you got that much slobber in your mouth. He's doing a lot of slobbering too.
Here, doing a fantastic, really fantastic work. Thank you, Callista, and many other
He caught himself saying "fantastic job" too much.
Members of my administration who are so committed to peace, and they're also committed to great success. Very important.
Which normally Republicans view those two things as mutually exclusive.
Importantly, let me recognize the very first group of distinguished members of the Board of Peace. They will.
Yeah. By the way, you'll notice, like, I think when he shows the people, like Viktor Orban, and I think the leader of the Philippines, and then everybody else, you're like, who the fuck is that?
Be introduced by name in just a moment. Caroline will be doing that introduction.
Why will Caroline be doing it? Because they're a bunch of funny sounding names, and it's really hard for him to say, Shujabar Mufaragagarbadan. That's why. So this is going to be the thing going forward, by the way. Anytime there's going to be a bunch of foreign leaders, this is the new reality. Caroline Levitt or someone else will say their names while he sits at a table, by the way, signing paper. It's like an autograph session. That's what this is. That's what this is. This is when you buy the VIP ticket at the WEF this year, you get to go like stand in line to sign something with Donald Trump like it's fucking Comic-Con.
And to each and every one of you, we are truly honored by your presence today. Leaders of countries, in most cases, very popular leaders. Some cases, not so popular, but that's the way it goes in life.
By the way, this is a regular trick he's using where he thinks he's breaking the ice about how everybody's likable and some people aren't likable, and some people I like this guy and I don't like this guy, and some people I like and some people I don't, because it's like he's being artificially real in that moment, and he uses this over and over again.
Thanks as well to.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. Let's see up here. Whoops. Oops, I scanned anything on it. Yes. Oh, the mic is fading in and out. Okay, sorry about that. I will work on that. Hopefully it will fix. Beg your pardon. I'll bring it up a little bit in volume. I need echo cancellation because I'm not playing out speakers, so I should be all right.
To President Karol Nawrocki of Poland, who's a fantastic man. He just won a very big election. I'm very proud of him.
Oh, he gets a little bit. Somebody jumpstarts an applause for the new Prime Minister of Poland. It's like there's probably 400 people in there, and there's like 80 of them clap.
Amazing.
That's when you're telling a joke or making a statement in a speech, and you take that card that was in the speech and you throw it away afterwards. That was supposed to do much better.
Along with former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. Thank you, Tony, for being here. We appreciate it.
He
And
gets real
members of the
applause.
Board of Peace Executive Board, great group. This week marks the
Is there a middle management board? Sorry, I'm already bored of this speech. Board of speech.
1-year anniversary of my second inauguration as president. No administration in history has achieved such a sweeping turnaround in 12 months' time at home and abroad. We have a tremendous mandate. We won the popular vote by millions.
I know you guys think I'm all horribly unqualified, but let me tell you, I was picked by a bunch of dumbasses, okay? So stop thinking I'm supposed to be here. Stop looking at me like this is Trump's imposter syndrome kicking in.
We won every swing state to 7. They were saying, can he win all 7? Is it possible? Because it's not done. And we won all
It's done a lot.
7. We have a great mandate back at home. As I said yesterday, the U.S. economy is booming with virtually no inflation. It was one.
Somebody just said, Hal, Anna Kasparian apologized yesterday. Should we accept it? No, because she's only doing it so that she can undermine the vote for the midterms. Because if you get back into the good graces of like, oh, she's come back home, and then you start listening to her, and she'll start right around June, she and Cenk will start shitting on Democrats, 10 times for every time they attack a Republican, leading up to the midterms and accusing the establishment from, keeping the real truth out, blah, 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 and depressing the vote. That's their fucking gig over there. So you can accept, you can forgive, but not forget. And you can also, I would say, don't forgive, but you can forget. You're like, I let it go, but I'm not going to give you the same benefit of the doubt ever again. I will not give to you as before. I will guard my heart. I will harden my heart. I will swallow my tears. I will turn and leave you here.
0.2% for the
That was my Tori Amos version of Pat Benatar, apparently.
last 3 months. And we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country.
No, you didn't. Joe Biden did due to supply shock.
And we have economic growth now of 5.4%.
No, we don't.
Looks like.
Looks like if you don't look at anything else.
And I think that number can double and triple.
No, we're not going to have 15% growth, you fucking weirdo. It could double and triple. Yes, I suppose over the next 3 decades.
If we do the right things.
What would be... Yeah, okay, real quick. About that whole what qualifies as a right thing. That's what concerns me.
And if we change things.
By the way, hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide. Subscribe, patreon.com/HalSparks. Also follow me on all my socials because apparently I'm supposed to say all that shit.
So that if you announce good numbers, the markets go up, instead of if you announce good numbers, the market goes down, because everybody tries to kill it by lowering or raising interest rates.
Everybody, I was trying to raise and lower interest rates yesterday. I hadn't made a decision which
Depending
one.
on
But
the situation.
yeah, most times I will raise them, but sometimes, depending on the situation, I will lower them. So hold on, let me pop this up there. Yeah. There was a super chat. How incriminating do the Epstein files have to be for the Republicans to go wall to wall with Jack Smith? Well, that was the point brought up by many Democrats on the panel. We're going to look at some of that today, ladies and gentlemen, at these guys whiffing like crazy, especially Jim Jordan, who, I don't know, is particularly sensitive about people looking into his past. And who he converses with in regards to that past.
When America booms, the entire world booms.
Yes, yes, especially Venezuela, Iran, Syria,
And
Gaza,
we have secured commitments for
the Donbass, Sudan. Who gives a shit about Sudan? Never brought up once in this entire get-together. Doesn't even, I almost think he brings up these 8 wars he settled, like these fucking, pissing contests that are about the geopolitical equivalent of a Real Housewives fight, and then just so he can avoid talking about Sudan entirely.
over $18 trillion in new investment coming into our country, which is a record. by many times over, not just by a little bit, by many times. There's no country ever in history that's gotten anywhere near that number.
Yeah, including us.
Slashed our trade deficit by 77%. This is
Okay, that's terrible.
in 1 year.
Yeah, we didn't increase manufacturing and output of physical goods 77 fucking percent. We just tariffed so much shit that people can't afford to buy it anymore. We lowered what we buy from other countries without any replacement. And then he had to do a bunch of carve outs. And also, when was this stat true? In June, when everybody was like, oh, fuck tariffs? Or like before or after taco number 1, 2, or 3?
Yesterday was 1 year, and signed historic trade deals with nations from all over the globe. Today, the world.
Yes, that all the trade deals that we actually signed brought us back to basically where we were at, like somewhere between 1.2 to 2.5% in general on things with carve outs. And like, Jesus Christ, this asshole likes things like it's an attack on Madison, Wisconsin if France floods us with brie.
Is richer, safer, and much more peaceful than it was just 1 year ago. We put out all those fires.
No,
People didn't know, including me, that some of those wars were going on.
You had to convince people they still were, to convince people that you had gotten rid of them.
Some of them were going on for, in one case, 32 years, in another case, 35 years, and another one, 37 years.
Yeah, they basically boiled down to border skirmishes and arguments, which they're, by the way, they're still having border arguments and they're still skirmishing.
We were very happy to stop the war that had started with India and Pakistan, 2 nuclear nations. And I was very honored when the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 10 and maybe 20 million lives
by keeping him from bombing India because of trade. Also, it has nothing to do with the fact that that guy was going to pick a fight with the Taliban and wanted the United States to side with him.
Getting that stopped just before bad things were going to happen.
Bad things were always happening.
As president, I ended those 8 wars in 9 months.
Okay, by the way, all the heavy hitters. By there is Javier Milei, and then there's Orban, I think, and then I think that's the head of the Philippines there. Is that Lukashenko? No, I don't know. I think these guys are together, so I'm not sure. Everybody else, you're like, I'm sorry. This is the executive board of the Board of Peace. Chainsaw dude, like wannabe, Elon Husk over here, and then Victor Orbital over here. These guys are the kings of peace. These are the guys who've been finally, we're doing peace now.
Including Cambodia and Thailand. And by the way, many of the leaders are here. Kosovo and Serbia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and
By the way, fighting's still going on.
India, Israel and Iran.
By the way, he counts Israel and Iran because we bombed Iran with Israel, and that ended what was going on there. There was no peace deal. That's why I keep saying I settled these wars. Keep that in mind. The guy that's starting the Board of Peace says he's settling wars, which means, and this is definitely, almost out of the John Bolton playbook. Like how we end this shit, we just obliterate them. At some point, that's what it has to be. Like the only way to end this war is to destroy one side entirely. Not exactly a Board of Peace kind of thing. And I think the Board of Peace will be discussing like, okay, who do we bomb next to settle this war?
Egypt and Ethiopia, we're working on that right now. I met yesterday with a very good general and a very good leader of Egypt. We're working on a dam that was built, which precludes the Nile River from getting water. It's a little
it precludes
tough situation, but we'll get that settled.
Because he thinks about the Nile and Egypt and being full of water and pyramids.
Really had it just about settled in my first term, and then we had a rigged election. Took me out of commission for a little while, but here I am back. We'll get it settled. But it's a pretty tough situation. A dam was built, and the water doesn't come down to the Nile. When I think of Egypt,
Maybe you should just go up to turn on the tap. Maybe they have a tap you could turn on, like
I
California.
think of the Nile, but I think of the Nile with water in it.
Okay. Do you think of it often? Is the Nile in the room with us right now?
Armenia and Azerbaijan, who, I mean, a lot of these leaders have become my friends. They become my friends. They're here.
Do they take your calls late at night?
And of course, the war in Gaza, which is really coming to an end.
It is. It's coming to an end. Sorry, I thought we had eternal peace in the Middle East. Coming to an end? Fuck do you mean coming? I mean, I know what I mean.
Little fires that we'll put out, but they're little. They were giant, massive
Fires.
and now they're down to little fires.
Yes, we went from the big bombing back to the normally, regularly scheduled small bombing.
Put them out very easily. We have 59 countries that are involved in peace in the Middle East. Many of them not in the Middle East. They're near the Middle East. But
yes, they're Middle East adjacent.
they're not in the Middle East.
They feel Middle Eastern, though. They identify as Middle Eastern, even if they're Southwestern.
And many have said that if Hamas doesn't do what they promised they would do, and I think they probably will, but
no, they won't. Why would
they were born with rifles in their hands. They were literally born.
No, they were not literally born with rifles. No, that doesn't happen, you fucking psychopath. Figuratively born with rifles in there. All right. No, I would just like to clear that up. I would make it easy for the CNN fact checkers. They were literally not born with rifles in their hands, because I got to tell you, what they have, like a C-section where they shoot their way out.
The first day they had a rifle put into their hands, but
and then it fell out of their hands because they have no grip strength. And if this asshole had raised any of his children, he would know this. They were were they little rifles? Were they little cute ones? Or they just dropped a fucking hot AK that had just fired 50 rounds on top of this newborn baby. What the fuck?
Have to give up their weapons, and if they don't do that,
the babies? I don't think they're going to. They could be especially once they develop grip strength. The concern would be that babies put everything in their mouth, and so the butts of those things can be nasty, especially in that part of the world.
It's going to be the end of them. But many countries have told me we want to go in and do it, and they really are.
Sorry, they want to go in and end them?
Countries that you
the babies
traditionally think of as being involved in that. But that's a fire. Hezbollah in Lebanon, we have to do something about that.
Yeah, that is in the Middle East and is not, safe to say, a peaceful situation right now. So obviously peace in the Middle East, what he means is in about an 8-mile stretch in northern Gaza, western Israel, something like that. It's very localized peace in the Middle East. There's like a block and a half. It's the peace quarter.
These are, I call them remnants. They're small remnants compared to what it was before. It was massive, large, powerful countries fighting each other.
Huh? What, the 56 countries that want to join against Hamas were fighting amongst each other? So they put down their arms just so they could beat the shit out of Hamas, is the idea? This is fucking lunatic.
In another great victory for the ultimate goal of peace in June, we obliterated Iran's nuclear
the ultimate goal of peace.
enrichment capacity with Operation, we call it Operation Midnight Hammer. It was midnight, it was dark, no moon.
And did they use a hammer, though? If I ever had a
and every single one of those bombs from the B-2 bombers hit the air shafts and went deep into the earth.
Easy there, pal. I'm starting to lose focus on what the words in the background say.
And totally obliterated everything that.
Yes, and this should be really called, if you really think about it, the Board of Obliteration, because that's how I'm going to solve the rest of these wars, is just pick a side and blow up the other one.
They were 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And Iran does want to talk, and we'll talk.
Yes, I think The last phrase I heard was something along the lines of them telling you to go fuck yourself. It's still talk. I mean, technically speaking, they want to keep yelling at you, keep yelling death to America and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
We've also hit ISIS in Syria and very
in the name of peace,
strongly, as you know. In my first administration, I took out al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS, and he was trying to start it up again because due to the tremendous talent of General Raisin Kane, as I call him, he wiped out ISIS in a period of 3 weeks in my first term.
Apparently not, because you're still hitting them in Syria, so you didn't wipe them out. That would be, I mean, I'm just saying there's a logical fallacy here that needs attention.
You know, we had a great first term, but the second...
That whole, the last year, I get a mulligan on that one. I mean, I know I said stick a light bulb up your ass and drink bleach and you'll be fine, and COVID will go away when the sun comes out like snot on a banister, but it'll dry up and blow away like a booger. I know I said that. And the world economy crashed. And the next president had to do cleanup again, as all Democrats have to do after a Republican.
Term is, I think, blowing it away, actually. But we took out ISIS, and
in the name of peace,
we hit. It was gone, but during the Biden administration, it formed again a little bit.
A little bit.
We hit it very hard in Syria. And Syria, by the way, I spoke with the president, is making a lot of progress, tremendous progress, actually. We're very happy about that. We took off all sanctions, which gives them a chance to
sell Captagon to the rest of the countries again and build up their financial infrastructure based on the drug trade in the Middle East again, because they're basically the Colombia of the Middle East. You do realize that your buddies in the Abraham Accords still have their sanctions on them, as it were.
And he is working very, very hard. And
not smart, but hard.
I think he's going to put it all together. So many things are happening, many good things. Threats to Europe and America, the Middle East, and other places are really calming down.
Are they? I think Tucker just had a dude on his show that was saying that Russia wants to bomb Berlin and the UK.
It's a lot different than it was just 1 year ago. Just 1 year ago, the world was actually on fire. A lot of people didn't know it.
Yeah, well, we fire's easy to miss. Most of us, especially when it shows up on the news, nobody watches fires anymore.
And in Nigeria, we're annihilating terrorists who are killing Christians. We've hit them very hard.
In the name of peace.
They've killed thousands and thousands of Christians. What's that all about?
What's it all about, Muslims?
Much of this unprecedented success is possible because I rebuilt our military in my first term.
Peace through obliteration.
Now we're making it even stronger. We have a budget of over $1 trillion this year, and next year we're going to $1.5 trillion. Our country's never done better economically. We're taking in numbers that we've never taken in, not only the
even still
fact that the investment is at 18 trillion plus, but
plus, yeah, because he even gets bored of his bullshit numbers.
Our jobs numbers, everything is, I think, maybe better than ever before. I think you...
No. Well, I mean, affordability is a hoax. What am I talking about? Also, hit that like, share the show. Super chat's always welcome, etc.
Going to see some... And a lot of you are investing in our country. I think you're going to be extremely happy with your investments. I think you'll see numbers like you haven't seen before.
He means paying him off. They're investing in our country by, running your money through World Liberty Financial, the Donald Trump FinSec scam.
I also secured commitments from virtually all NATO allies to increase their defense spending to 5% of GDP. Everybody but Spain. I don't know what's happening with Spain. Why
they're having a siesta right now. It's the middle of the afternoon. You can't expect.
Would they not do that? They want a free ride, I guess, huh?
Huh?
Every country but Spain increased to 5%.
So your negotiating skills still suck.
I don't know why. We're going to have to talk to Spain. With America's renewed attention to security of the Western Hemisphere, I've stopped the invasion on our southern border and designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
In the name of peace, so that he can use the authorized use of military force against law enforcement targets.
And you probably saw that we've virtually stopped almost 100% all drugs coming in by water. Now we're going to stop them on land. The land is easy.
Yeah, because it's way easier to bomb people driving.
The water is tough.
Yeah, it is. It looks soft, but if you fall far enough, it's like concrete.
But that's down now. I heard it just last night. It was 97. Now it's 98.1%.
Why did that one fisherman die in the hospital in Colombia?
And we're trying to figure out who are the 2% that are willing to get onto those boats. I don't
Ask Don
think they
Jr.
watch
He probably knows them personally.
television or the news. But we've taken out almost 100% of all of the drugs coming into the United States by water. And now we'll, I think, very easily stop them on land. That's the easy part.
We will bomb them in the water. We will bomb them on the land. And then when we find out that most fentanyl comes into the United States through trucks and mostly airplanes in the suitcases of American citizens, we will blow Delta out of the sky.
We wanted to wait till the other was taken care of. And earlier this month, thanks to the unrivaled skill, power, and might of the U.S. military, we have the most powerful military in the world by far.
Board of Peace.
We captured the outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro, and the people of Venezuela are very happy about it. And we're having great relationships with the new leaders of Venezuela.
You mean the people that were right in line behind him who benefited from the exact same system, but now they don't have to deal with him? They're now in charge? I can imagine their excitement.
Relationships have been good. We're opening up the country to our giant oil companies.
You know, because imperialism sucks.
And it's going very well. We've already taken out, think of this, 50 million barrels of oil.
We took it out or they gave it to us? I forget. Was it a bribe to... It seems like the vice president bribed you with 50 million barrels of oil to kidnap their president so that they could move in. That seems like the scam,
and
right?
A lot of that's going to go back to Venezuela. They'll do more.
After the money goes through Qatar,
income.
And gets turned into Trump meme coins before turning back into U.S. dollars so that he can skim about $250 million off the top of the sale.
With us in a short period of time than they did in years. Because as much oil as they have, and they have a lot, just about the most. After us, there's a couple of countries that are in that category, but we have the most, actually, and they're second between Venezuela and us. We have 62% of the world's oil, but they have very little.
So this was a resource attack. Gotcha.
Production,
okay.
So they'll have a lot of production. All the oil companies, we had meetings, you probably saw, all the oil companies want to go in. They want to go in immediately.
No, they don't, actually. And one of them said it was uninvestable, and the rest of them are like, ugh, this again.
They're already touring the sites.
Are they? Is that that's what's happening? But so a bunch of, like, oil executives are now just flying around Venezuela looking at their gear to take it over?
But our military was amazing. That strike was amazing. We had a second wave coming. We didn't need it.
Nah, we killed enough people, and we used our super weapons and Jewish space lasers. We got everybody. And now I can move on to Board of Peace, now that those people are dead.
They said, no second wave. We don't want a second wave. The first wave was enough.
Is that what you asked? We got a second one right here for you. I got some other guys who want to go in. No, please do not do that. They told me, no, President, please do not do that.
And of course, we're working to end the horrible killing in Ukraine.
You're right. Hard in my heart is Quarter Flash, not Pat Benatar. Thank you for pointing that out, Zip Ahead. I misspoke and I was wrong. I apologize.
A war that should never have happened and would have never happened if I were president. That was not going to happen. I used to speak to Vladimir Putin about Ukraine, and it was the apple of his eye, but he would never have ever done it. So,
well, maybe he doesn't like apples.
You can't do that, Vlad.
Maybe he doesn't like eyeballs.
As part of this historic record of major peace initiatives, today we're announcing more details regarding the Board of Peace. So important.
So important, the details. Yes.
This board has the chance to be one of the most consequential bodies ever created.
Yes, wasn't he the one that made fun of his wife for being on blue ribbon committees that don't do anything but take in a lot of money? Because this sounds like that's what this is. that this is going to be an investment window and Eric will oversee where that money goes in the same way that he oversaw, donations to St. Jude's.
And it's my enormous honor to serve as its chairman. I was very honored when they asked me to do it.
They didn't ask you. Your own team made it up and suggested you run it. They didn't form the UN didn't form this fucking board. This was concocted by your own people as a PR
I had
stunt.
an idea to do it, and then they came. They said, "You be the chairman." And but I take it very seriously. We have a great group of people, and incredible young people that are leading it from within.
You mean the people who are actually doing the stuff while you sit there and go, so how great of a chairman am I?
It's running beautifully. Started already.
It did? Okay, so I guess because we already have peace in the Middle East, it kind of grew organically out of that, like dung.
And every country, just about every country, wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, a couple of holdouts. Spain. Russia just offered to give you $1 billion.
And we just sent out the letters a couple of days ago, and these are just the countries that are here. They happen to be in Davos.
Okay. They're representatives from these countries, but the presidents and the leaders don't necessarily gather at this. Like, it's not rare. It's not. This is like, I think he wants this to be the G7. I think he thinks this is like another variation on that, and he just I guess he could turn it into that just by showing up, is what he thinks.
Would be honored if you wanted to join us up on the stage. And
only the best of the best came up, and only 400 of the 420 attendees in this room wanted to sit in the dark.
it's really great. They're friends of mine. I think. Let me see. Yeah, every one of them is a friend of mine. A couple, let's see, a couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand. Usually I have 2 or 3 that I don't like. I don't.
Yeah, so there's Millet. This dude right here, right there, is over it. I guess this was supposed to be Trump's seat, but he blew past it for the picture. He didn't do it or didn't want to have to sit down twice and get up. But somebody didn't show.
I like
and whoever they were, they got the white
every
seat.
one of these people. No, they're great people. They're great leaders.
Yeah, look at him. Yeah, I mean, especially the Hitler dude in the back. Is that seriously? Hold on a second. This guy, this dude right here. Is Hitler actually on the Board of Peace? How did they manage to do this? Did they save some of his DNA in a jar? You do realize that haircut and that mustache are, let's say, on a hot or not list. It's heavy on the not. That's bad. Jesus Christ. Who the fuck is that guy?
And the Board of Peace is composed of leaders, the top leaders in the world, actually.
Yeah, the top ones. You recognize all of them. Adolf and company. Holy shit. That's nuts. Wait, back the fuck up. Wait. This dude. That's amazing. This guy right here.
This is composed of leaders.
Oh, he's got a full mustache. It's just when he smiles up, it hides this part of it. Not a good look, dude.
The top leaders in the world, actually.
Hot or
Last
not
October, we released a plan for the permanent end to the conflict in Gaza, and I'm pleased to say that our vision was unanimously adopted by the United Nations Security Council.
Yeah, not the 2 parties engaged in the actual fighting.
Last year, under phase 1 of this plan, we have painstakingly maintained that Gaza, and we're going to have it very strongly, and it's what we have. Maintained the Gaza ceasefire, delivered record levels of humanitarian aid. We've given aid. You used to hear all the people who were starving, and it was terrible. Now you don't hear that anymore. We've delivered record levels of.
Yeah, because other aid groups have dropped stuff in there. And I think fucking Tony Robbins flew in meals with drones and shit like that. Like there's a bunch of people moving in.
Humanitarian aid. I want to thank the United States, but I want to thank some of the countries,
I want
some
to
of the
thank
countries
myself for being so
that are
awesome.
sitting right up here because they've sent great aid, great aid also in the form of money where we go out and purchase food. And you don't hear those stories anymore with people starving. And secured the release of all 20, we secured the release of all 20 living hostages. Now, I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared and everybody for working so hard. They worked so hard, but there were 20 remaining living hostages. Now, we got hundreds out, but the last 20, I said, boy, that's going to be a tough one. I said
Biden got a bunch of them out
that
too.
a year before, and it was a tough one, but we got them. Got all 20, every one of them. And we had also about 28 that were dead, but the parents wanted them just as though they were living, just as much. Some cases, it almost seemed more.
No, nobody would rather have a corpse than a living child. You fucking weirdo. Nobody. Honest to God, I don't know why he hammers this. He's just amazed that people want the remains of their loved ones back. He doesn't give a shit. So it's shocking to him that even people care about it at all. So the fact that they care just charts really high automatically.
It was amazing, actually, the love but their boy had been killed in just about all cases, young men. Their boy had been killed, and they wanted the body of the boy, and it looked like it couldn't be done. And with the exception of one, and we're close on the track of that. We've got them all, every single one of them, which is amazing. It's a rough job. That was a rough job.
Yeah, was it sweaty work? You were there all day digging through the rubble looking for
And
them?
I've been very clear that Hamas must return that last remaining deceased hostage as well, and that will be the full commitment. And then we get on to other things, and we're committed to.
Don't they have to disarm in the first part too?
Ensuring Gaza is.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I am live. I am live right now, Stagmus. Yeah, I am alive. I'm live right now. I'm on early today because I got to go down to NAM.
Properly governed and beautifully rebuilt. It's going to be a great plan, and that's where the border peace really started. And I think we can spread out to other things as we succeed with Gaza. We're going to be very successful in Gaza.
Yes, with Trump Plaza Gaza, and it's going to be a new Dubai, only lamer.
It's going to be a great thing to watch, and we can do other things. We can do numerous other things. Once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations. You know, I've always said the United Nations has got tremendous potential, has not used it, but there's tremendous potential in the United Nations.
Yeah, largely because stuff that either Russia, China, or we shut down.
And you have some great people at the United Nations, but so far it hasn't. You know, on the 8 wars that I ended, I never spoke to the United Nations about any of them. And you would think that I should have. You would think they could have done those 8 wars, but they couldn't have. And they tried, I guess, in some of them, but they didn't try hard enough. But there's tremendous potential with the United Nations. And I think the combination of the Board of Peace with the kind of people we have here, coupled with the United Nations, can be something very, very unique for the world. It's for the world. This isn't United States. This is for the world.
Yeah, this is just a gift I'm giving or whatever. Now, never mind the fact that it's going to take in huge amounts of money.
As everyone can see,
that won't go anywhere except to the members.
Today, the first steps toward a brighter day for the Middle East and a much safer future for the world are unfolding.
By the way, this dude, hold on. This dude right here. Where is he? Hold on. This guy right here. Why isn't...
Before you...
I don't know why my... Oh, it's up here. The guy in the red striped tie on the left is over it. He's not even looking Trump's direction.
Yes. Together we are in a position to have an incredible chance. I don't even call it a chance. I think it's going to happen. To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace for that region and for the whole region.
By the way, this is exactly something Timu Antichrist would do before he declares himself the Prince of Peace and I guess calls himself God in the middle of the Temple on the Mount.
Of the world.
Except Trump, because he's Timu Antichrist, would probably truth sinkhole it from the inside of the temple.
Because I'm calling the world a region. The world is a region.
That got me. The world is a region. The world is a region. Yes, we're all. If you think about it, I'm thinking of it as a one region government. The right gets all freaked out when I say one world government. So I thought maybe if I call it the one region government and region will just be code for world. The world is a region. If the world is a region, then that means there has to be like life on nearby planets. So is this the region that has humans on it?
We're going to have peace in the world.
In the region of the world, in the general region of the world, in the world, yeah, in several regions within the world where the world region is.
Boy, would that be a great legacy for all of us. Everybody in this room is a star. Or you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, if you're not here, you're not a star. You're little people.
There's a reason that you're here.
Yes, money. It's the World Economic Forum.
And you're all stars. You're the biggest people, the most important people in the world.
Fuck you.
Most powerful people in the world.
Fuck you.
And when you use that genius that you have, that very unusual, very inspired genius, when you use that for peace, the opposite of peace has no chance. So,
what is the opposite of peace? I always forget. It's that word that no one can ever say, right? It's like the N word, which I think is nipple.
I just want to say it's tremendous to be with you, and I think this is something that we're doing that's very important. This is the most important. I was so looking forward to being here. And
yeah, we can tell your energy is exploding.
Yesterday was a tremendous success. A lot of good things happened, but this was something that I really wanted to be here and do, and I could think of no better place because so many people were together.
And how can they arrest a guy for being, Epstein's co-conspirator when he creates the Board of Peace? What are you doing? I created the Board of Peace. You can't release the Epstein files.
And now to bring the Board of Peace into...
This is what happens when you try to start the Board of Peace. The establishment, the deep state doesn't want peace, so they release the Epstein files. They blackmail. They do it. No person could ever avoid this. Now, most people aren't friends with people like Jeffrey Epstein, and it is a unique situation. But nobody would ever have a chance of being president. If this is the standard, how is anybody supposed to live up to it? If they can come after me, they can come after you. Even though you obviously don't operate in a hive of billionaire pedophiles.
Of course, I ask Sheikh Isa of Bahrain and Foreign Minister Barita of Morocco to join me in signing.
Ooh, big names.
And ratifying the Board of Peace Charter. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So he introduces the first two, and then he goes over and sits down at the little signing table. And the first two guys come over, and nobody knows what they're supposed to do. And somebody just said, "Sit down, Mr. Trump." So they bring out they're all signing on to the charter for the Board of Peace. So he signs it, and then they sign on or whatever. And then Caroline Leavitt introduces all the other people so he doesn't have to say their names. Got kind of that right face slump happening again.
Okay.
I made a boom boom in my diaper. Thank you. Thank you. He's signing autographs at this point.
Congratulations, President Trump.
He gets the leather bound one, and they get a shitty manila folder. No offense to Manila.
The charter is now in full force, and the Board of Peace is now an official international organization.
So we have peace now, right? So you can declare yourself the God in the flesh, and the end times can now start, right? What time is the rapture? Because I would like, look, I recognize you don't have to undress before the rapture. You will just be yanked right out of your clothing. But some of what I wear is very tight. So I'd like a moment, if I could, because I just don't want my whole body going up through the neck of my t-shirt. I just feel it would be uncomfortable. And if I'm rejected once I get up there and I come back down, the neck will be all stretched out.
We will now continue the signing ceremonies, beginning with the President of Argentina and the Prime Minister of Armenia.
Oh, she's not even saying their fucking names now. Do I sit over here? Do I sit? Where's my chainsaw? What am I signing here? I got to get a look at this. Thanks, sign it, guys. I'll just sit here while you guys sign it. I already signed mine. I already did my homework. You guys do it. Nice job. Good job. Nice job. Good job. Don't they... You're not going to hold yours up for them? What, do the other two guys get it? Oh, but...
Next up, the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan.
Yeah, this is like Comic-Con. This is just that, like, if you pay an extra $200, you get to sit down and sign something with a stickhead.
And the Prime Minister of the Republic of Bulgaria.
Biggest names in the world. Biggest, most genius, beautiful, intelligent, disturbed geniuses in the world. Just powerful and doing a fantastic job. All right, thanks. Sit there. All right. Thank you. Is it time to make the donuts? I think so. So he's just going to sit there while they all sign him and hide his cankles, I guess. You don't expect him to stand there while they all sign this, do you? Does he not trust them? Anyway, so that's what this whole thing ends up being. She doesn't even bother. Oh, he's just droopy.
The Prime Minister of Hungary and the President of the Republic of Indonesia.
Think it's easy what? Killing your own citizens? You got a good signature there. That's some squiggly. I don't even understand your language. Tell me again how you shoot people for having drugs in their pocket. Oh my God, this is fucking embarrassing. And then they go to this, and then this. That's the guy from, on that guy over there. That's Kazakhstan's president.
Prime Minister.
This is the guy Putin tried to kill and failed. Looking right down her shirt. All right, there you go. Yeah, she's doing the Macron handshake. Good move. Don't worry. I will make sure your son lives in peace and security after you are driven from your home country. You can always retreat to my country. That's my mom over there. That's your mom? Hello. Hello. Oh, hello. And sign it. And there you go. And then these people come on. More of this. And we'll sign the thing. Like your signature. It's a nice signature, huh? His signature's been, this is becoming like American Psycho when they were comparing business cards. Oh, and Hitler. There he is. Decided to grow out the sides of his mustache. It was a little too on the nose. No pun intended. Trump's hiding his hands and his cankles. Anyway, so this goes on, and then they sign all these things like this, and they just bring everybody there, and then I don't know.
Security Council Resolution 2803.
And he signs this.
Trump and all Board of Peace members could please take their seats in the front.
Yeah, so that the white seat is for him so they can take a picture together.
It states Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who will speak about President Trump and his accomplishments with.
Oh my God. They made him come up and do a whole speech about this shit too. And they played video, and there's Steve Witkoff. They're basically all kissing his ass, and they go through the committee, the technocracy they're going to set up to run Gaza. Yeah. Well, let's hear Jared's speech. I want to hear what Jared has to say. This is the guy we hear from we've heard from Witkoff. We've never really heard. We very rarely hear what
So
Jared
that we
has
get
to
on
say.
behalf of the president. States J.D. Vance for all the secretary of Susan hearing.
And I have to say, one of the great honors for me of being able to work on this has been working with Steve, who really is as brilliant as he is. His heart is tremendous. He's a lot of fun to be with, and even in some of these.
Not as fun as Jeffrey Epstein. I heard that's the actual quote that Trump used about Jeffrey Epstein. That can't be an accident.
Very difficult moments where we didn't think things were happen. Working together really was an amazing treat. I'm going to go now today just through a couple quick slides just to show you the progress that's been made in the last couple months. It was just over 100 days ago that we got the final deal done, and everyone was celebrating and joyous about the hostages coming home and the end to this long war that nobody thought was possible. And Steve and I were panicking, saying, what do we do next? How do you implement peace? And as you guys know, peace is a different deal than a business deal because you're changing
Is it though?
a mindset.
Yes, that's Jared Kushner.
And in Israel, there was 2 years of very intense war. For the people in Gaza, there was more than just 2 years of war. They had 20 years of hopelessness being ruled by a terrorist organization. For the people in the Middle East, their hearts were
That they voted in 2006.
pulled by this. And throughout the entire world, it really was weighing on us. And so we needed to think about, what do we do next? How do we change the habits? How do we change the behaviors? And we really got to work right away. And the team that Steve thanked, including the White House team and the team, the volunteers, it's really been an incredible effort, very entrepreneurial. And we really did it in the way. I've been working now with President Trump for 10 years on politics. And what continues to amaze me is that he always takes a first principles approach and says, what's the most optimal outcome? Aim for that. Whereas politicians are always focused on the downside or what could go wrong.
First principles approach is not the most optimal. It's what are you baseline trying to solve, work towards that singular solution, and don't worry about any of the fluff, which often has to do, especially in the tech world, with all the stuff that makes us human.
To make it a little bit better. He always says, aim for the best possible and do your best to get there. And if everyone thinks it's impossible, that's even more reason why you should aim for it. And so really thank you for the leadership and the inspiration for doing this. And I think you'll see today we've achieved more than thought was possible. And our ambition is still to go for something
He's going to fall asleep.
I think better than most people think is possible as well. So let's see if these things work. They never usually work. Good. So quickly, I'll go through this 2-year war, 90,000 tons of munitions. There's over 60 million tons of rubble there and tens of thousands of fatalities. Through the ceasefire, we were able to get to through the 20-point plan, ceasefire, release of hostages. Getting the UN resolution passed was a huge, huge effort, really thanks to
I don't know what more you need. I've got a timeline. Look, the arrows are all pointing from left to right, so obviously this is happening.
Mike Waltz and the whole team there. They did an incredible job. And we've then, with the help of the UN, we've worked very, very well with them. This is why you need a new organization like the Board of Peace to work with the UN. I want to thank Tom Fletcher. Did an incredible job of really getting it going. We've done historic humanitarian aid. Going forward, number one thing is going to be security. Obviously, we've been working very closely with the Israelis to figure out a way through de-escalation. And the next phase is working with Hamas on demilitarization, which I'll talk about in a second. But without security,
working with Hamas on demilitarization. You know that thing that they said they will not do?
Nobody's going to make investments. Nobody's going to come, build there. We need investments in order to start giving jobs. We want to take these people. 85% of the aid of Gaza, 85% of the GDP of Gaza has been aid for a long time. That's not sustainable. It doesn't give these people dignity. It doesn't give them hope. And so we want to use free market economy principles. A lot of what President Trump spoke about that he's doing in America, we want to bring the same mindset, the same approach to a place like Gaza to give these.
Right. That's a great idea. How about you could solve all the problems in Gaza by pretending they're having a manufacturing boom? Also, why doesn't just let tariffs the most beautiful in the world? Why don't you have Gaza tariff all the food aid?
People the ability to thrive and have a good life. Let's see. So on the aid, I mentioned the UN. So now people are talking about famine. 100% of the food needs are met, and that's been overabundance. The cost of goods have gone down tremendously. Over 55,000 trucks have gone in, and over 1.4 million pallets. So it's been the largest humanitarian effort done into a war zone that anyone's been able to tell us about. This really has been a
Yes, that was all part of Biden's deal that you guys made part and parcel of this, and that Netanyahu said, yeah, I only want to do one more. I'm good with that deal, but give me 10 more months of bombing.
great joint effort that everyone's been able to do. And so it's a great thing. We all just heard from Ali. We have been so impressed. Steve and I were speaking to him and the entire committee. Such bravery of these people to step up. And we've worked with the Palestinian Authority, who's been helping us as well. But
the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza.
this committee is the first time it's technocratic, apolitical committee. I really
Technocratic, apolitical.
want to thank the Arab
It's the technocracy of America, and they're using this as a pilot program.
partners for helping us select the right people to do this, and we just need to believe in them and support them. I put this up here. It's probably a little too small for me to read, but this is really important if you saw the mission statement. So Hamas's mission statement was, we need to destroy the state of Israel. That has not worked well for the people, as we've seen. Their mission statement is, we are committed to establishing security, restoring the essential services that form the bedrock of human dignity, such electricity, water, healthcare, and education, as well as cultivating a society rooted in peace, democracy, and justice, operating with the highest standards of integrity, transparency. So these are
Oh, that's good enough for me. Those guys said it and wrote it on that piece of paper. Oh, it's good as done then, I
basic
guess.
things. Their goal is to have peace and to help their people,
Now do the Patriot Act.
which is an obvious mission statement for
Just how patriotic was it? I think it was sort of, but you probably think it was awesomely patriotic.
government, but actually fairly novel for Gaza. So we did a master plan. We brought in, I thank Yakir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning,
Zones.
we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B
We're going to enforce.
we do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they built
So there's going to be a new soccer field and a couple of running tracks, and then some apartment blocks, and then parks.
cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years, and so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafah will start with. This will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope. It could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place
New Gaza. Jesus Christ. Coastal tourism, transportation, and an oil rig.
that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment. And
I mean, what the hell are you talking about? What is this? Is there a little, did one of these slide into the ocean?
opportunity for
Or is that a boat?
everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance.
And it all starts with money, and that's where you guys come in. You give us the money, we sit on it until we do something. And during that time, if we want to loan out billions of it and make money off those loans while we're waiting for these projects to move forward, which they never really have to do, we can just sit on a giant wealth fund of 50 to 80 billion dollars put forward by the world, that we will manage.
Final note, I'll just
Manage. I mean, you skim the cream off, and that's a form of management.
say on the Board of Peace, which is that all the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All of these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America.
Told you. It's the technocracy pilot program.
If they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're sexful with Gaza.
If you're sexful? Sorry, what?
Copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're sexful with.
You're sexful. Okay, so sex tourism, that's how you're going to pay
Gaza
for it.
Is really show how do you do peace implementation.
So it's like the new West Palm Beach.
Which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future. So demilitarization, this is something we're starting now that we have a new government in Gaza. This government will be working with Hamas on the demilitarization.
Single civilians, one legitimate civilian transitional authority governs Gaza, first NCAG and later the Palestinian Authority when it completes its reforms. One authority, one law, one weapon. All weapons authorized by one authority only, NCAG, which is their technocracy company. Monopoly on force. All militant arms groups, internal security, police organizations. So one of the things they think it will work is seizing all the guns, and only the government has guns. So one of the first things that they're saying doesn't work is a Second Amendment. That's literally monopoly on force. These are the principles of demilitarization they're putting forward. And by the way, I would love to hear maggots talk about this, especially the Glenn Beck prepper adjacent crowd. Palestinian-led, process led by Palestinians, internationally verified. Personal security for disarmament, heavy weapons decommissioned immediately, personal arms registered and decommissioned by sector as NCAG police becomes capable of guaranteeing personal security. The end state, only NCAG sanctioned personnel may carry weapons. Demilitarization and unlocks investment. Reconstruction only in sectors with full disarmament. Amnesty and reintegration. Disarmament reward with amnesty and reintegration. Sounds like they're trying to recreate Canada.
Really take the principles that were agreed to in the document to the next phase, and hopefully that will be successful. Without that, we can't rebuild. So if Hamas does not demilitarize, that will be what holds back.
I'm digging. I literally can't wait to hear these folks address that. If that's what's working, we should do that here. And monopoly on force being that's a big phrase amongst the right wing. They always bring up Ruby Ridge and Waco when you bring up monopoly
People
of
of
force.
Gaza from achieving their aspiration, and that's very important. So the next 100 days, we're going to continue to just be heads down and focused on making sure this is implemented. We continue to be focused on humanitarian aid, humanitarian shelter, but then creating the conditions to move forward. So thank you. Final point I'll just make is this is really only possible because of the work of so many people and President Trump's great leadership. But a lot of you have been asking, how can we help? So the countries have all been incredibly generous. We'll be doing the first conference where we'll announce a lot of the contributions that will be made.
Contributions that will be made. And the fund it will go into will be managed by Jared and Steve Witkoff.
In a couple weeks in Washington. From the private sector, there'll be amazing investment opportunities. I know it's a little risky to be investing in a place like this, but we need you to come, take faith, invest in the people, try to be a part of it. And then finally, I'll just talk to people on the media and on the social media, which is this deal only happened because we worked with Israel, we worked with Turkey, we worked with Qatar, we worked with Saudi, we worked with Egypt. I mean, everyone worked together. We worked with UAE. We all worked together to make this happen. I see a lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing Israel or Israelis criticizing Turkey or Qatar. Just calm down for 30 days. I think that the war's over. Let's do our best to try working together. Our goal here is peace between Israel and the Palestinian people.
And a $50 million sovereign wealth fund that we manage.
Everyone wants to live peacefully. Everyone wants to live with dignity. Let's put our efforts towards promoting those who are doing the work to build this up, like Ali and his committee. Let's focus on the positive stories, and let's just calm down, turn a new chapter. And if we believe that peace is possible, then peace really can be possible. So we're going to continue to work every day. We need all of your help to do it. And again,
and by help, we mean money.
and I just really want to thank President Trump for his leadership in doing this. This would not have been possible without your commitment to this. Everyone thought it was impossible to end this war. You never gave up. You never stopped. Every time there was a setback, you told us to try harder. You gave us different ideas. And we've made several impossible things happen just in Gaza to date. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make even more impossible things happen. So really thank you.
You can't actually make anything that's impossible happen. Just for the record,
for your
if that's what the word means.
Leadership.
So ass kissing, slides, and a fundraiser. That's what this is really about. This is about raising billions of dollars into a sovereign wealth fund for Gaza that will be controlled by Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff and Howard Nutlick and Scott Bessent and the Trump family. That's what this is about. That's why we have not seen Ivanka lately. So real quick, I know I'm at a different time, but I want to show you. This is an exchange between Jim Jordan, who is really wound up about the Cassidy Hutchinson thing, and this is for those of you who don't know that Jack Smith, who was special counsel who went after Trump successfully, but was shut down before he could actually prosecute him. Because of lawfare. It's just another version of lawfare. If you don't let the law play itself out, or you say, I don't know, don't release documents that the government, that there's a specific law that says you have to release those documents. That would be another form of lawfare from government, where you use the levers of power to not comply with the law. So this is, yes, that's a Trump slush fund. It's exactly what we're talking about. By the way, hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide.
Mr. Smith, is Cassidy Hutchinson a liar?
Okay, Jack Smith's not gonna, that is a pejorative and a matter of opinion. And no,
she was their star witness.
No, she wasn't.
January 6th committee, their star witness in one of those staged and choreographed hearings they paid the former president of ABC News to put together. She was, in fact, the only witness at this special prime time hearing Tuesday.
Yeah, because she was inside at the time. She was part of the administration.
June 28th, 2022, 8 o'clock in the evening, and she told some stories. I mean, these were some stories. She talked about President lunged across the back seat, grabbed the steering wheel, tried to drive the car to the Capitol.
No, that's not what she said. So is Jim Jordan a liar, I think is the question, because Jim Jordan is actively saying that she said those things, which she didn't, and that she relayed that exact thing, that he tried to grab the wheel and steer it towards the White House or something. That's a lie as well. So Jim Jordan is a liar. Also, Jim Jordan looked the other way during sex abuse at OSU. So fuck him. And also Jim Jordan is in the Epstein.
Just want to know.
And is also, one of the people responsible for trying to hold them back over the years.
You think she was lying?
Chairman Jordan, my assessment of that particular issue is that with respect to the testimony about the president lunging towards the driver, my recollection of her testimony about that is that it was secondhand. She said she'd heard that from somebody.
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
I'm sorry?
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
Yes.
White House Deputy Chief of Operations, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, right? You remember what he said about it?
As I sit here right now, I do not.
Yeah, he said it didn't happen.
Yeah, but he wasn't there when she overheard that conversation. So that's not even hearsay.
How about Bobby Engel? You familiar with that name?
Yes, I am.
Secret Service agent who was actually in the car that day. You know what he said?
Whatever the president made him say?
He said it didn't happen.
Yeah, because he didn't want to get busted having talked shit about the president, because he's one of the people who let it slip. He denied that he had said it to somebody else, which God knows never happens in a court.
And they both said the first time they ever heard this story was when Miss Hutchinson testified in the primetime hearing as their star witness.
Yeah, that's not true. That's a lie. Because people had heard this story from other people besides her, certainly before that.
The January 6th committee. By the way, did you ever confirm?
So they're both liars. I think we've established that there is no way that's the first time they heard those stories. They would also, by the way, even if they hadn't heard it until it was germane to this, people knew what she was going to testify at that particular hearing ahead of time. And there's no way people within the White House and in the Secret Service detail hadn't discussed whether that was true, whether that was said, that there hadn't been discussions about it even amongst themselves. So both of those guys are lying about that part. That's just clear. That's obvious lying.
Her testimony about this particular incident?
We conducted, as I said before, our own independent investigation of all aspects of the case that we thought was relevant. We, attorneys from my office.
Did you ever confirm it? That's a simple question.
We interviewed her, I should say, attorneys in my office before.
Did you ever confirm the president leaping across the seat, grabbing the steering wheel, this whole concoction she brought up? Well,
you technically couldn't confirm it because two of the witnesses are now denying it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means that they're denying it, either out of duty or coercion. And the president himself denies it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. You can't confirm the negative unless you have there was video inside it.
January 6th hearing. Did you ever confirm that?
Right. We interviewed another firsthand witness who was in the car who did not confirm that had happened.
That was the other driver, or the guy in the passenger seat.
In your deposition to the committee last month, Mr. Smith, you said this.
By the way, and this is Jim Jordan kind of jumping down Jack Smith's throat about hearsay evidence that the Democrats used in their hearings, which offer can be, they can offer suggestions to the DOJ in terms of going after somebody, in terms of indicting somebody. But it doesn't have the same standard as a court of law. So he wouldn't bring her hearsay testimony into that thing unless he was bringing charges against the person who was lying in the first place. So they would have to charge the Secret Service guy and the other people involved because they had evidence to prove that they were lying, and they would use her hearsay as evidence that they had spoken openly about it, not the veracity of the claims that they made. And they would, you'd have an opportunity to cross-examine her to see if she was a reliable witness.
Recollection with Ms. Hutchinson was a number of the things that she gave evidence on were secondhand hearsay. You remember making that statement to us last month in the deposition?
Yeah, that's why she wouldn't have been a witness in court.
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and you also said Ms. Hutchinson, regarding this particular claim, was a second or even third-hand witness. We ask you, if you were a defense attorney, how would you handle cross-examining her if she was on the witness stand?
And you couldn't imagine a situation where a prosecutor would bring a person with second or third-hand knowledge of stuff because the judge would immediately go, someone would say objection hearsay, and the judge would say sustained. This is so fucking dumb.
You said, if I were a defense attorney and Ms. Hutchinson were a witness, the first thing I would do was seek to preclude her testimony because it was hearsay. You remember?
Right. Objection, hearsay, sustained. Exactly.
Remember saying all that?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
That's correct, right? Were you going to put her on the witness stand if you ever got to trial?
We had not made final determinations as to who we were going to call as a witness. We had
Also, by the way, she was witness to stuff that wasn't hearsay. She was personally present at other meetings and stuff where, like Rudy Giuliani and others were in the White House, were in the Oval Office, and in the residence. She was a witness to those things. They would call her for that stuff. So again, this is sort of dirtying her up by association. Like, you take something that she would say that's hearsay, that's just something, she's just telling you what she heard, not the veracity of what she heard. They could have been lying just to impress her, that they had gone through something, right? That doesn't mean that what they said was true, but what the question would be whether she really heard them say that would be the only thing germane to this situation. But he would never ask her about that on the stand.
You were still considering her?
We had a large choice of witnesses in this
Are
case.
you familiar with what Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis said in their book? They did this book, 300-some pages book on Chronicle.
By the way, Jordan is chirpy and fidgety during this entire thing. Like he's agitated through all this, and I think partly it's because Jack Smith just doesn't take the
The whole
bait.
investigation at the Justice Department. And here's what they said on page 310. They said Jack Smith had wondered whether some of Hutchinson's claims might be relied upon at trial. Still, at one point, Smith told the elections team he wasn't ready to give up on Hutchinson's account. Ultimately, however, Trump administration officials uniformly, fiercely disputed her accounts under oath. Prosecutors on your team told Smith they wouldn't want to use Hutchinson as a witness in court, and Smith.
It sounded like they were having an open discussion about the veracity of all the witnesses, and they would go through them one by one and go, all right, can we use this person? Would this work? Is part of what they're saying legit? Should we bring them up specifically for this thing? Could they refute or describe a certain situation? Would they be a good rebuttal witness and that kind of stuff? But in regard to this issue, we don't think it would work. And they go, yeah, I agree, and that's that. So fucking
Agreed.
stupid.
Are Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who wrote this, are they lying?
My recollection is that I certainly had not made any final determinations about who we were going to call.
And that's the point. That is the point. The fact that they used her in a primetime hearing and you won't rule out using her, or didn't rule out using her, putting her on the witness stand when everybody knows she wasn't telling the truth.
No, they don't.
That says it.
No, because Donald Trump is a habitual liar. The people around him will often lie to benefit him, either under coercion or because they are supporters. That doesn't make someone, if there's a single witness who overhears three people conspiring to do something, and the three people deny it under oath, but the single person doesn't have a recording of it, it doesn't mean that person is lying. It just means they're outnumbered, and technically speaking, they don't have any way to show veracity to their claims in a legal court of law. It doesn't mean that they're making it up. That's the assumption he wants you to make.
That's the degree the left and Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump, putting on the witness stand someone everybody knows is making it up.
She wasn't making it up.
Everybody.
Nope, they don't. She was not making it up. Whether those guys were saying it because it happened or to impress her or because they were freaked out and they changed their testimony doesn't make her a liar.
He knows that. And you were willing to do. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
I do not.
185 times. Someone that the whole country knows wasn't telling the truth, and
Nope.
you were still considering putting her on the witness stand because you had to get President Trump. And everybody.
Well, if he was going to get President Trump, why would he bring somebody up who's a hearsay witness who would immediately be dismissed by any judge? If he really wanted to get Trump, you would specifically decide later, like, if we're going to bring her up, we can't talk about anything that's hearsay. We can only address what she witnessed personally. Okay.
Everybody can see that.
Jordan's such a fucking chimp in this situation. It's like, this is PR for Donald Trump. This guy's always been a PR agent for Donald Trump, but and they have a lot in common. They both have sex abuse scandals in their past that haunt them everywhere they go. And so I can understand where he's particularly sensitive about this, because there are plenty, by the way, of hearsay witnesses to what Jim Jordan did who are not lying, who are telling the truth about what they saw, experienced, heard others say, but he knows the legality of it, so he can pretend he can call them liars, because since it's hearsay, it's an unfalsifiable. Anyways, dipshit. So, then there's this one with different. Let's see, Jack Smith grilled by GOP committee over Trump investigation. Dun dun dun.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. When Attorney General Garland appointed you, he cited the particularly sensitive matters at issue and extraordinary circumstances as the reason for appointing a special counsel. What did you take that to mean?
What I understood that to mean is I was to conduct an independent investigation and come to my own conclusions about whether the facts and the law supported a prosecution.
But clearly he was alluding to the fact that we had an investigation into a leading candidate for president. That was part of the extraordinary circumstances.
Wasn't a candidate at the
Would you
time.
agree?
I will rely on his public statements about that. I understood my role as special counsel was governed by the regulations, which require.
It's important to approach the investigation with humility and restraint. Is that fair?
Like every other one?
Yes, and that.
It's funny because he seems to be like taking notes, like, this guy's an asshole.
That's what I sought to do. I sought to
And
conduct.
you thought you possessed those qualities. In fact, you testified at your deposition, quote, "I thought I was the right person for the job." Of course, some disagreed. Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, for example,
who defended Trump in his impeachment, and like kind of as a sideline adjunct. He wasn't actually on the team. He was just kind of the stunt lawyer on Fox for a long time. Is also one of these like supreme executive authority guys who believes the president should be able to do anything. He's kind of like a leftover Nixonite.
has said, quote, "Jack Smith has a reputation for stretching criminal statutes beyond the breaking point." I assume you disagree with that statement by Professor Turley.
I do disagree with that statement. I think my career speaks for itself. I have been.
But that statement was also, and I'm sorry to have to interrupt, I just have a short amount of time. That statement was also echoed by the United States Supreme Court in a unanimous opinion in McDonald versus the United States, where the court overturned convictions that you had pursued against a former governor, criticizing your boundless interpretation of the federal criminal statute. It issued that.
Oh, by the way, this is them defending governors that obviously took massive bribes.
Was joined by Justices Ginsburg, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan. So do you also disagree with that statement by those justices?
I have conducted my career in a nonpartisan fashion. That particular case, the legal position that the department took, that wasn't my personal position. That was the position of the department.
I see. So, Mr. Smith, I've had the opportunity during my time on this committee to review the work of two special counsels, John Durham, appointed during the Trump administration.
Yeah, we like to call him John Dud around here.
And Robert Erb during the Biden administration. And in both cases, they seem to exhibit that humility and restraint that we talked about. But in reviewing in detail the way you conducted this investigation, I see a very different mode of operation, one that sought maximum litigation advantage.
There's no audio all of a sudden? Yeah, refresh your page, because that's not me. Am I being, I'm being shut down. Yeah, refresh your page.
At every turn, one that repeatedly circumvented constitutional limitations to the point that you had to be reined in again and again throughout the process. For example, shortly after you became special counsel, you issued a subpoena for the phone records of the Speaker of the House of Representatives over a 2-month period, along with for other senators and representatives, even though the public integrity section at DOJ cited litigation risk to doing this. What was that litigation risk?
With respect to the toll record subpoenas that we issued, they were approved by the public integrity section. The public integrity section, in approving those subpoenas, noted the fact that the subpoenas were for records for people who were not targets of our investigation.
But they said there was a litigation risk and you moved forward with it anyway. And not only that, but you also sought orders from judges making it so those who were having their records seized would not know about it. And you...
Yeah, asshole, that's how surveillance works. What do you think we do when they listen on the mob? Fucking send a signal flare up? Are you stupid? They do this a bunch. They bring this up a lot. Like, you didn't even let these Congress people know that you were checking their phone records. Yeah, they were checking to see if they were engaged in a conspiracy. There was evidence that they were engaged in a conspiracy. So they were checking it against other records. So why would you let them fucking know?
Even didn't tell those judges that it was members of Congress whose records you were going after in apparent contravention of a federal statute saying that a telephone provider for a Senate office shall not be barred from providing notice that the records had been requested. Now, if you sought to do that today, would you be able to get away with that, with asking the judges for a non-disclosure order without telling them these are members of Congress?
When we secured these toll record subpoenas, it was done consistent with department policy. You're correct in that that policy has since changed.
They changed the policy based upon the actions that you took. Similarly, you issued a gag.
Yeah, to protect Trump and all of his
Order
acolytes.
against President Trump that the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals vacated as overbroad. Is that correct?
Well, the D.C. Court of Appeals, in passing on that order, found that it was justified. They narrowed the order, but they confirmed that the phenomenon.
They narrowed the order because it was overbroad. In addition to that, you sought an.
Well, but they still allowed it to go forward. So one thing is overbroad. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't completely out of bounds. They just made you be more specific. That's all.
Early trial date that the district court rejected, and when you presented your prosecution memo to Attorney General Garland, it's been reported that he was visibly unimpressed and expressed First Amendment concerns. So, Mr. Smith, looking at the record, I see that
was he aghast?
you were reversed and rebuked by the Department of Justice itself, by the Attorney General, by the Solicitor General, by multiple district court justices, judges, by the Court of Appeals, and by the U.S. Supreme Court itself. So my final question is, do you believe that you made any mistakes? Do you have any regrets as to how you conducted this investigation?
If I have any regret, it would be not expressing enough appreciation for my staff who work so hard in these investigations. We followed the facts and the law. These people who work for me sacrificed endlessly and have endured way too much for just doing their job. So if anything, I wish that I had thanked them.
Time of the gentleman.
So no mistakes. There's that humility. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Yeah, the time of the gentleman's right. The chair now recognizes the ranking member for 5 minutes.
Okay, so again, the lamest attacks, and a lot of them, hold on, is, where's this guy? This is, yeah, I think this is the live one. Is this it? Oversight of the council, and then,
In January of 2023, did you subpoena then Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's toll records?
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir, could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to
It
do
was
with one.
16 days after becoming the highest-ranking Republican in the House of Representatives.
yeah, but why would Trump be calling anybody else in that regard? He was trying to stop the count. What difference does it make what the fucking date is?
You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll
You were
records-
collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a
major attack on the Capitol.
flagrant violation of the.
Yeah, he didn't do it as it was going on. This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to. This is Brandon Gill of Texas. He's trying to make it sound like he sees these records like as an ongoing thing, or that the FBI was listening in, or that they were keeping track of these records ahead of time, and they were watching what he was doing leading up to January 6th and afterwards, instead of after January 6th happened, looking back at the people that were clearly involved.
Speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these.
Right, so that his reputation would be besmirched as the object of an investigation.
Subpoenas, is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did, and let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns.
A flight risk? Jesus, what the fuck is this
Was
dude talking
Speaker
about?
McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Yeah, again, that's not like flying out of the country.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be
You
associated.
think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to?
No, whenever it must satisfy these certain categories. So they go, the reason we need a non-disclosure order is the reason we ever need a non-disclosure order because of a flight risk, tampering with evidence, witness tampering, and that kind of stuff. There's these multiple reasons will satisfy this. We believe that our request satisfies these two, tampering with evidence or tampering with witnesses, for example. Not that he's a flight risk, but all of those are the standard categories. They cite the law all the time in these things. And Republicans act like it's a special case. All of them say that. All of these things say that.
Hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy.
No, it wasn't. Because you know who also could flee prosecution in this particular case? Anybody who was on the other end of the phone. Anybody else who they were contacting. That he wasn't going to flee, but somebody that he was talking to that might have been engaged in this, maybe one of the fake electors, for example. They could flee the country. Because they know, oh shit, they know who I was talking to as well. This is fucking stupid.
And you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records. But I've got more.
Sorry, do all phone calls, are they all circular? Is the belief system that McCarthy picks up his phone and talks to himself, that it's basically just a voice recorder? Or is there somebody on the other end of the line? And these toll records tell who he was calling and when he was calling. And therefore, a myriad of other people involved in this could be witnesses who could flee prosecution if they don't actually come forward, if they could be held as a material witness and those kind of things, or people who actually are engaged in the crime or committed a crime on him and might flee because they know, oh shit, I called and threatened his life. All right, you can take someone's phone records and look at them to make sure if somebody was threatening their life and hide it so that the person doesn't, blurt it out that that's what has happened, so that the person who threatened their life doesn't know that they're onto them so that they can go and catch that person. The flight from prosecution could be anyone involved in the calls or anybody in a call perhaps you don't even know about because they're not the target of the investigation right now. While we're focused on this call at this time between this person over here was actually engaged in a bigger part of the crime. And so they could fuck off so that they don't get caught because they know the circle is tightening. This is so dumb.
More, so let's move on.
You're an idiot.
In May of 2023, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative. Is that right?
In May of 23, we did issue.
You did, and there were non-disclosure orders in conjunction with those subpoenas as well, right?
That's correct, consistent with department policy and the law.
So again, nobody would know what you were doing. The senators would, and the representatives would, and the American people wouldn't know what you were doing. Is that right?
Well, they would certainly find out if that person was engaged in a crime and it ended up getting prosecuted.
The toll records that we secured, and
by the way, now do what grand juries are. Grand juries are secret, right? Nobody would know that you were meeting in secret with a bunch of other people to decide whether to indict someone.
Non-disclosure orders were consistent with policy and consistent.
And you knew whenever you were doing that there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. Is that right?
The toll record subpoenas that we secured were with the concurrence of the public integrity.
Your own analysis says that you knew there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team.
There is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates speech and debate clause in D.C. See, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. In grand jury investigation, thus telephone calls placed or received by the member or his staff in gathering from outsiders information which is weighed in the process of deciding how to vote in drafting legislation and preparing for an argument may still be privileges used against him, even if not as used against third parties, which would be the other people who could be a flight risk in this situation. Let's say it was Steve Bannon you were going after, and he called a congressperson and helped them decide how to vote. You would not be able to prosecute them based on it using that evidence, but you could go after him if he was threatening them, for example. The case law is clear that legislators asserting the invasion of speech or debate clause privilege by use of the grand jury subpoena is to a third party may intervene and oppose such use. Even putting aside the government's potential meritorious argument, that's the government, even putting aside the government's potentially meritorious argument that the calls were over the relevant period, especially unsolicited incoming calls, would not constitute protected legislative acts. Given my understanding of the law, likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. Yeah, because they're not going after the people that Trump was trying to call. He was trying to call them and threaten them, and they were tracking what he was doing when he willfully knew he lost the election and tried to manipulate the vote.
As you are aware, quote, as you are aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the D.C. Circuit. That's from your own analysis right there. So you did know, didn't you?
Gee, it's almost as if legal firms will weigh both sides of an issue.
Sir, with respect to the item you just put up on the screen, the last sentence states...
we're going to get to the last sentence.
Okay.
We're going to get to the last sentence. And you cite case law in here, quote, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. Is that right? Or do you think that you didn't have to abide by that precedent?
To be clear, this statement is not from my office. This is the statement of the Public
This is your
Integrity
justification for those subpoenas and NDOs that you ordered. This was part of your analysis. It's a cursory analysis.
No, it isn't. It's getting an answer back from the Public Integrity Unit about whether or not these would be, how far you could go. Obviously, there's touches on these things, but looking at the list you gave us and who was involved, the worry about that should be minimal. That's what the end of it says.
I think it's worth noting. But let's get to that last sentence then. Quote, given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. In other words, you're using a novel legal theory, which you knew was novel, has never been tested by any court.
No, they weren't charging those people. They were going after Trump and the people around him who were calling members of Congress and trying to force or cajole them and seeing if it lined up with how they voted and if they changed their vote or if indeed they delayed their vote. Who was putting pressure on them?
You're not charging any of these members.
This is just dumb. This is so lazy.
Nobody's going to know about it because you issued NDOs. Nobody's going to sue about it, so who cares? We're going to do it anyways. I mean, you walked all over the Constitution throughout this entire process.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time's
spying
expired.
on members of Congress, and you know it. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah, these are silly arguments. I mean, like the absurdity of this, and a lot of these guys are lawyers, I think. So let's jump to one of our favorites. Hold on.
Mr. Smith, it was during your deposition with our committee revealed that you tasked your team, specifically J.P. Cooney, to engage with the partisan January 6th committee.
Partisan is your word.
You had to have known at the time the controversy surrounding this committee, including the fact that all of the members had been appointed by Nancy Pelosi, who disallowed the Republicans from being able to engage.
No, you had Republicans on there, including the woman who used to hold your seat.
Yet you proceeded anyway,
They wanted to put people who would literally be defendants in this on the panel.
numerous questions as to your strategy for conspiring with the J6 committee. You had every possible resource available to you. Your prosecution of President Trump was clearly a priority for the Biden administration.
No, it wasn't.
And it is clear that you had
If it was, they wouldn't have put Merrick Garland in charge.
unlimited budget. And you also left no stone unturned, even
Yeah, there were some stones they weren't allowed to turn over.
subpoenaing records from sitting members of the House and Senate.
Sure they did. These were just toll records, just when the calls happened and where they were from, not the contents of them. They didn't seek text messages. They didn't seek, recordings, voice messages.
So what information could the J6 committee possess that you and the nation's top law enforcement agency could not obtain on your own?
I did request J.P. Cooney.
What did they have that you couldn't obtain on your own?
in any investigation,
What information did they have that you were not able to obtain on your own?
I couldn't know that until I had their information.
Was there anything
Ding.
there? Did you find that they had information that you were not able to obtain?
I don't recall specifically every bit of information. What I can tell you is we took in their information because we wanted to collect any information that could be relevant. We made our own independent assessment of the
Okay,
evidence.
so from the time that you were appointed as special counsel up to
Yeah, so you've got an entire body of Congress gathering information on a case. You're the prosecutor, and you just want a copy of all their evidence, if they'll give it to you. Now, do the Epstein files, lady. I mean, there are victims of Jeffrey Epstein that would love to have all the information that Pam Bondi has, and would have loved to have had it when Epstein was still in jail.
the date of your resignation in January of 2025, did you personally have any contact with any members, staff, or contractors of the House's January 6th Select Committee, and if so, who?
I do not believe I had contact with anybody personally from the January Select
The
Committee.
January 6th Committee failed to archive or preserve its video recordings of witness interviews, deleting or destroying as many as 900 interview summaries or transcripts
No, they're all online.
involving more than
Also, some people weren't germane to the conversation. So once they did that, those people weren't part of the investigation anymore. So you don't have the right to just keep their stuff online in perpetuity throughout history.
1 full terabyte of digital data. I repeat, the J6th Committee destroyed evidence.
No, they didn't. They destroyed information that was not germane to the case, that they had no right to maintain as evidence when it was not.
Let that sink in.
You're already sinking in, lady.
Why would they do such a thing? I think we have a dang good idea. The committee actually used selective clips from these videos and transcripts during their hearings, and yet by destroying this evidence, they have denied Congress and the public the ability to obtain their full content and context.
No, I think that everybody that was actually where they used their testimony, that's kept. That's still there.
They created their narrative by selective use of the evidence before them. So how very convenient. Did you or your
God.
team receive
George Santos and drag.
any of those witness transcripts or video recordings of transcribed interviews from the Select Committee that were not released to the public?
What I can tell you is that I requested J.P. Cooney to contact the Select Committee.
Do you know if you received any of the evidence
Yeah, I think he's trying to get to
or
that.
testimony that the J6 Committee eventually destroyed?
I don't have any information that the J6 Committee
You don't know
destroyed
one
any
way or
evidence.
the other as you sit here today.
No, what I'm telling you is that I requested all the information we could get from the January 6th.
Has all of the information that you requested been preserved? All of the information from the J6 Committee, has that been preserved?
The information that we requested and received, we reviewed it. It was
Has it
part of
been
our file.
preserved?
Yes, as part
Thank
of
you.
our files. And
Were you or your team advised, or did you get the impression
So it hasn't been destroyed, so it's around. So
from
yeah.
anyone affiliated with the January 6th Committee that these documents were not for public release, even though portions of them had already been shown to the American people? Were you advised to keep any of the information from the J6 Committee confidential?
as I sit here right now, I don't recall that.
Okay.
I recall,
Did the J6 Committee provide you with the Cassidy Hutchinson testimony as part of the trove of documents that you received?
as I sit here now, I don't recall, but it would
Well,
be very
you're
like-
familiar with her testimony, aren't you?
I don't know why they're hung up on her, other than the fact that she's telegenic and was inside the Trump administration. So, casting aspersions on her will somehow clear Trump,
I am, and
In fact,
which seems to be the only.
wouldn't you agree with me that Ms. Hutchinson's testimony, especially the most explosive allegations made, was comprised of hearsay upon hearsay upon hearsay?
No.
Come on, you're an attorney. Mr. Smith, you can answer the question. Of course it was hearsay. And hearsay isn't admissible in a court of law, is it? Why? Because it is inherently unreliable, and the victim or
Doesn't mean it's false.
the target of a prosecution is not able to cross-examine. Isn't that correct? In fact, Mr. Smith, if you had attempted to walk into court with Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, you would have been thrown out on your ear. No,
there would have been an objection raised and it would have been sustained, which is why he wouldn't have asked her about any of the stuff she said that was in regard to hearsay. But she was a personal witness to a lot of shit. She was in the White House. She was in the Oval Office. Trump hired her.
judge, no legitimate judge would have ever allowed the testimony of Cassidy Hutchins to be admitted in a court of law.
Well, sure, they would have. Just not about the hearsay stuff.
Would they?
I disagree.
Well, and then we've already talked about your record.
Mr. Chairman,
today,
Mr.
so I
Chairman,
can
the gentlelady's
understand
time
why
has long
I
since
yield
expired.
back.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. The gentleman from Florida.
Can I do one UC request first?
The gentleman is recognized.
This is from factcheck.org. Meme rehashes old false claim that J6 committee destroyed evidence from October 15, 2024. And this is from the District of Columbia National Guard website, stating that this is the only National Guard unit in America which reports exclusively and only to the president.
Without objection, the gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, we're definitely not in a court of law today. Half this shit wouldn't come in if we were. I mean, good God. You know,
Cool jacket.
I want to
Very, very fashion forward, Moskowitz.
talk about something one of my colleagues, Mr. Nell, said from Texas. He sits on this new January 6th subcommittee, which I also happen to sit on. And he said the same thing in the subcommittee the other week, that it wasn't President Trump that inspired January 6th, right? It wasn't him. He said in the subcommittee that it was actually Ray Epps. Ray Epps. He was the one who told people to break the law and the windows and the doors and to beat police officers and hang Mike Pence and try to break into the floor of the House and wipe.
Because maggots are dough-headed assholes who apparently can be hypnotized with one phrase. And that phrase is, go easy, he's on our side, which is apparently what that guy who attacked the cops said that Ray Epps said to him on January 6th.
Feces on the walls. It was all this guy, Ray Epps, right? So who is Ray Epps? Why is he so powerful? So, I mean, I just did a quick, Google search of Ray Epps, and his Wikipedia page says, the powerful Ray Epps is a wedding planner to the Oath Keepers. This is the wedding planner? That's the mastermind of January? You went from Donald Trump. It wasn't Donald. Who are we going to blame? Who could it be? How about the wedding planner to the Oath Keepers? I mean, it's just pathetic. But, my colleagues love the past, Mr. Smith. Love the past. That's why.
I like him. Here's what I would do is follow up on that. The immediate follow-up to Harriet Hagman and everybody else who was attacking Cassidy Hutchinson should have been, is there ever a time where a witness has elements of factual evidence they can testify to, but that some of what they are saying is hearsay that you wouldn't use or would be objected to if somebody else tried to use it? Of course. If Cassidy Hutchinson was a witness to something in the Oval Office with her own two eyes, or saw documents to the effect of something, or were there for an engagement, she can say, I witnessed it personally. That is testimony. That's witness testimony. That is allowed in any court. The stuff that she says about, hearing about, Trump grabbing one of the Secret Service guys by the shirt collar like a fucking moron, that could very well be true that she heard it, but it does not have anything to do with whether it was true or not. She could have been lied to by these two Secret Service guys who were just trying to get in her pants and seem all tough or act like they've been through something. We're trying to trigger her Florence Nightingale effect, like, poor, poor, pitiful you, can you pet my hair? Cassidy Hutchinson could be brought in as a fact witness, and the hearsay aspects of what she had said in terms of what she heard other people say that is germane to politics, certainly. Most of Trump's entire gripe fest is hearsay. Most of this, he keeps saying he hears that his tariffs are working when they absolutely are not. That's hearsay, but that's allowed in politics and in conversation and in open debate. about whether that's germane or whether it's believable. But in a court of law, there's a difference between a facts witness and a hearsay witness. And in the case of Cassidy Hutchinson, was there anything that you can recall, and you don't have to speak about what it exactly was, where areas where she had the ability to speak to things she witnessed personally, not things she heard other people talk about, that were germane to this? The answer is obviously going to be yes. But they have to go after her because maggots, by and large, like her. Now, I want to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to hit the road. This is, let's see, because here, wait. Before I show you this, this is a dude from Palantir who says, so much, I almost feel like he should be a Simpsons character. Real quick, I want to pull up the beginning of, now I'm stuck on because I just said that. Elon Musk being interviewed at the WEF. If I can scroll down through here. And here we go. Tesla, here you go. Here you go. Speaks at Davos. And this is, you'll see what I mean about, we'll just watch the beginning of this because it's long and pointless. But hit that like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Why do I know more about the law than people who are in Congress who came there because they were lawyers? Larry Fink interviewing Elon Musk.
That was not a large applause. Start again.
A please clap moment from Larry Fink.
That's better. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna make this interesting.
How many quotes are you going to want that are going to be after this session?
I don't know. I mean, 5.
Okay. So good afternoon.
We're having so much fun. Both of us billionaires sitting up here.
Everyone, it's great to see everybody here. It's been an amazing.
Yeah, he's got the Kim Jong-un haircut. You can actually see the scar from his hair transplant with that haircut.
Amazing week here in Davos. Hopefully everybody saw that we are having conversations here. Hopefully everybody agrees. There are some conversations that we may disagree. There's many conversations that we may have agreed, but through those conversations, and I think today's result with a peace agreement earlier today.
He means Trump not invading Greenland.
The World Economic Forum is here to have those conversations, to have understandings, and also resolution. So it's an important component.
Boring.
Of who we and
yes, speech and debate are important. It's good that we have conversations. Brilliant.
We are.
Write a book.
Thrilled to have Elon Musk here.
Yes. So we can have at least one panel that's 100% bullshit and absolutely resolves nothing.
He came all the way from California to be here to see all of you. So thank you, Elon.
You're most welcome. I heard about the formation of the Peace Summit, and I was like, is that PIEC?
Brilliant.
You know, a little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
we got one.
Yeah, I just laugh about, war and threats of war.
All we want is peace.
Okay, I'm going to...
all we want is a peace would be the joke.
I'm a pretty proud CEO of BlackRock since we went public. The compounding return of BlackRock to our shareholders was 21%. Since Elon took Tesla public, his compounded return is 43%. This is just another advertisement for everybody, especially for...
Also, since you took over BlackRock, it was already a company. When he took over Tesla, it was two guys with a car they had designed.
Europeans.
It wasn't even his.
This is why more citizens should be investing with growth, investing with their countries. Imagine if a lot of pension funds invested with Elon when Tesla went public, and how much return would the all the pension funds that invested side by side with Elon and the growth. So,
yes, and the Nazism and the bots and the bullshit and we already have self-driving cars, right? They're everywhere. It's another company, Waymo, that's doing it.
Spectacular return. There's very few companies. Well, I don't think there's any other company as large as Tesla today that has that compounded return. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a good measurement.
Well, we have an incredible team at Tesla, and that's the reason.
So, I want to get into the dirt, the meaningful component about technology, the possibilities. I want to talk about AI and robotics.
Great.
Energy, space, and the
ketamine. Weird sex parties that you go to with your mom wearing a dragon outfit that looks like you're a cross between Satan and the son of Arthur Pendragon.
Progress ultimately coming down to engineering discipline, scale, execution, and few people, if not anyone, has the experience and the fortitude to confront these issues head on. Not just the ideas, but the execution across so many different technologies, Elon, and that's why I thought it was important for us to have this dialogue here in Davos.
Because we can't afford to get Mark Cuban or Jeff Bezos.
So
they're too busy they're too busy actually doing the shit that their companies do.
On AI, on robotics, on space, on energy, all at the same time. When you look across those efforts, what do they have in common from an engineering standpoint?
We're not going to get an answer.
Well, they're all very difficult technology challenges.
Yeah, that's not an answer.
But the overall goal of my companies is to maximize the future of civilization, like basically maximize the probability that civilization has a great future.
Notice it's not humans or even humanity, which is a word that they use as a placeholder for intelligence. Civilization. You can have a civilization with a billion people, and 8 billion people can just fuck off, right?
To expand consciousness beyond Earth. So if you take SpaceX, for example, that's SpaceX.
He means upload your brain into a robot and send your robot to space. It doesn't mean expanding humans.
Is about advancing rocket technology to the point where we can extend life and consciousness beyond Earth to the moon, to Mars, eventually to other star systems. And
notice that he stopped saying people or humans. It's life and consciousness.
I think we should always view consciousness, life as we know it, as precarious and delicate, because to the best of our knowledge, we
therefore suboptimal and therefore must be replaced.
We don't know of life anywhere else. You know, I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but
or you're from the future.
They don't believe me.
Okay.
That's because you come across more as an insect.
I think if anyone would know if there are aliens among us, it would be me. We have 9,000 satellites up there, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spaceship.
Well, you can't maneuver your satellites that way. They would maneuver around you.
So I'm like,
dummy.
I don't know. Bottom line is, I think we need to assume that life and consciousness is extremely rare, and it might only be us. And if that's the case, then we need to do everything possible to ensure that the light of consciousness is not extinguished, because we're effectively, the way I view it is, the image in my mind is of a tiny candle in a vast darkness, a tiny candle of consciousness.
And if you don't give me billions of dollars to send my shit to Mars and plant seeds there, it's your fault.
Could easily,
if we all disappear, if there's a mass extinction.
And that's why it's important to make life multiplanetary, such that if there is a natural disaster or a man-made disaster on Earth, that consciousness continues. That's the purpose of SpaceX. Tesla is obviously about sustainable technology, and also at this point we've sort of added to our mission, sustainable abundance. So with robotics and AI, this is really the path to abundance for all. If you say, people often talk about solving global poverty, or essentially, how do we give everyone...
Okay. Let him finish that thought, and then I'm going to tell you what's happening here.
A very high standard of living. I think the only way to do this is AI and robotics, which doesn't mean that it is without its issues. I mean, we need to be very careful with AI. We need to be very careful with robotics.
Except no one is being very careful, nor will they be.
We don't want to find ourselves in a James Cameron movie.
Like The Abyss, or...
Terminator.
Which had a lovely ending.
He's got great movies. Love his movies, but we don't want to be in Terminator, obviously. If you have ubiquitous AI that is essentially free or close to it, and ubiquitous robotics, then you will have an explosion in the global economy, an expansion in the global economy that is truly beyond all precedent.
Elon, can that expansion be broad?
Yes.
Or is it narrow? And how can that be created? How can
Okay,
it be broad?
sorry. Real quick, before Larry Fink gets into his blather, let me tell you what's happening here. When you have a problem with the image of your company, and it is effectively behind in every advancement, Blue Origin is pushing past SpaceX. Waymo and other car companies are surpassing Tesla. His Optimus robot is 5 generations behind even companies that just started a year ago, even though they've been working on it for a long time. If you're behind on everything, one of the ways you catch up, if you have name recognition, is turn your company into a charity. Make it so that investors invest in your company, not because it's actually doing something, because it seems like, they can tell themselves, I'm investing in this company for the benefit of all mankind. It's a profit-making venture, specifically, as are a bunch of other companies. But if you're failing, if you're behind, one of the ways you catch up, and you see this a bunch in what we would call, what they call in the entertainment world, cause marketing. Cause marketing, for those that don't know, is you get a celebrity or a politician or somebody or a business leader or whoever, and they want to market their product, but people are tired of just the straight up sell. So what they do is they get involved in a charity, and then they show up at all the charity stuff specifically, and they charity max their image so that you associate them with this feeding the hungry and that kind of stuff, and that's your association. And so now you're behind them, not just from a business standpoint, but you're also helping people by buying their product. There's a version of that in sort of the sustainability movement in electronics, for example. Apple's very good at it, but it took them a while to catch up. Starbucks had one of the biggest and best turnarounds that any company had when they were being picketed over the unfair labor conditions of the coffee that they were buying from South America. So they got picketed in Seattle at their headquarters, and they were having a meeting about how do we deal with this? How do we pitch this? How do we turn this all around? And the leader of the company, the guy who started it and all that stuff, I think he's since retired or whatever, literally said, why don't we just do it? Why don't we just go all sustainable, all fair trade coffee? Let's just make that our thing. It will cost us a lot less in the end, and we'll be doing something good at the same time. We won't turn off our customers. We'll also be doing something good. It won't change the pricing on what we're doing that much, but we'll use all fair trade from now on. And that's what they have been doing, because people picketed and they listened to it and they responded to it. There's another version of that where it takes you a long time, where you're like, if we try to not make a lot of electronic junk or shitty batteries or whatever, it's going to add an exorbitant amount of money to our product and make it it'll ruin our consumer base. It'll make the product too expensive. So instead, what we'll do is we'll show up at AIDS Walk, and we'll do a bunch of homeless outreach stuff and those kind of things that will let people know we're good guys doing good stuff, but we can't fix that thing that they're mostly griping about, the thing we have the most control over, because it would put us out of business or make us uncompetitive. And then the people that are competitive are arguably worse than this. So that's our choice right now. We could change our business model and become the most, recycle friendly electronics company in the world. But if we did, we would be behind all of our competitors. We would lose money and market share. We would go out of business, and the people that would take our place would be worse. And so we've got to figure out a way to let people know we're good boys and girls and good citizens until such time as we can fix this without breaking the bank. That's cause marketing. Use what a charity you believe in as a way of selling yourself to somebody else, to a third party. And Jara Zero says America sells violence. No, we don't. We do not. We sell, by and large, sports and electronics. And human beings have violence as a solution as one of the bigger quivers, bigger arrows in their quiver. But overall, you'll see this a bunch. You'll see the cause marketing part of this all the time. Even BlackRock does stuff where they're like building homeless shelters while driving up the prices of homes and that kind of stuff. That's the dark, evil version of it. But it's a regular thing. But what Elon Musk is trying to do is make the people the Tesla boys and the people who invest in his companies look at their investment as a part of their identity and what makes them a superior, if not better, if not more moral human being. So I invest in Tesla because we're going to, humans must survive into deep space and he's the only guy who's going to do it. That's what it is. That's what he's doing. And poorly, I might add. And it's why he's at the WEF. Everybody else is the Consumer Electronics Show. Or, some of the people will be at NAMM, which is where I'm heading next. So that said, I'm going to sign off and I will see you guys tomorrow for the regular shows. I'm going to do the morning show. The afternoon show I may do at NAMM. It's sort of a walkthrough with you guys, if that's all right. Kind of like I did with CES. And just kind of show you this because there are a lot of live musicians making a lot of live music still, and they deserve your attention. And real quick, hold on. Real quick.
Possible way. The 1930s flathead master tones in either the style 3, 4, Granada, sometimes 6, but those were the ultimate, and in my opinion, which is not always right, but my opinion, there's nothing to replace the original flathead master tone banjo in the right hands. You give it to any of these people, and some of the guys that are playing them today are playing some of the most outrageously wonderful music on them. I mean, Bela Fleck can get wonderful music out of an original flathead master tone, but he also uses a lot of other banjos. And Ned Luberecki, he plays that style banjo, and he plays phenomenal music on it that isn't, I wouldn't by any means call it old-timey bluegrass. But they've taken those banjos and they found that they are a real source of great music. If you go over to the open back world and all that, I think that most of us have, at least Harry Bickle, my good friend, and I have enormous fondness for the Fairbanks family of banjos. Cole and Fairbanks were down the street from each other in Boston. They built similar banjos in many ways. And the Fairbanks series that came with the first one was called the Electric, which had a scalloped part of a tone ring that had a ring on top of it. Then that evolved into later the White Lady tone ring. And then the other one was the tubaphone. And those two banjos really dominated the Fairbanks vocabulary and banjos. And to me, those are wonderful banjos. They're not the only answer. They're not the only ones. There's a lot of guys out there making great banjos, and a lot of guys making them sound good. But to me, those are that's the evolution of the banjo has sort of stopped, and I haven't seen anybody go beyond what those banjos have accomplished, and that goes back to the 1900 up to 1930, or probably 1940 is better.
Well, there's almost a mystique about the rings, right? The tone.
Oh yeah. There's more superstition than fact. When we set out to try to replicate the ring, we had a very small amount of metal that we took out of both a archtop tone ring and a flathead tone ring. I guarantee you both of them were original banjos. And we took them over to the University of Cincinnati's metallurgical lab, put them under a spectrometer or a spectroscope or some kind of fancy machine. The guy said, oh yeah, and he looked under it and he said, oh, here. And he picked up one of his books. It was about 2 inches thick and opened it up and he said, right here, that's what this is. And what is it? And he said, it's German bell bronze. And I said, so he said 80-20, 80% copper, 20% tin, and both ingots need to be as pure as possible. Now, the term they use when you buy ingot, which is a raw metal in a block, is you get standard if you just go in and buy it, and it's guaranteed to be 85 to 90% pure. You buy virgin ingot, and that's the term they use, you get 95 to 100%. So there's 5% still floating around there that you can scratch your head and wonder what it really is. So you're not dealing with 100% of anything. So you can find trace elements of all kinds of things. But the one other key factor was that you do not, in bell bronze and bell making, it says in the formula in the book, there's nothing I invented, I just learned about it, that you do not use magnesium flux while you're casting your brass, because it will not let the metal work harden when you put it in the lathe to make the bell or the tone ring out of it.
That's my dad. And that's part of the NAMM oral tradition. They interviewed him because of his expertise in banjo and guitar making and fixing. And this is him and Harry Bickle playing.
To my sweet sunny South, take me home, where the mockingbird sang me to sleep in the night. Oh, why was I tempted to run? And I think with regret on the dear friends I've left, and the dear hearts that sheltered me there, of my wife, my family, of whom I'll be reft. Will the old place again do like a all mossy around. The faces and forms I once loved so well now lie in the cold moss ground. But still I'll return to the place of my birth, where our children had played around my door. And I know that no matter how long their footsteps will echo no more.
That's Harry Bickle. He gave me my first electric guitar.
Take me back to the place where I first saw the light. To my road.